the best toys, and they sent me to the best schools. I thought they were the greatest parents in the world. I just never could have guessed the horrifying secrets behind their fortune. My school friends loved to come over to our house. My parents always invited them. Our house was very unique. It was designed by my mom, who was an architect. When I was about 4 years old, they built a secret room in the house. Instead of busting down a wall and building an extension, my mom designed a sky bridge connecting from the top floor of our house to the top floor of the room. It looked like a long white hallway with a door at the end. There were no windows on the bridge and no windows in the room. When I was little, I didn't ask many questions, but I knew I was to never go down the white hallway. I couldn't have anyways. The door at the end of the hallway was a big metal door that was always locked. I remember when I turned 7, we had a birthday party for me. Somehow one of the kids got separated from the clan and made their way upstairs. They found themselves in the white hallway. My dad bolted like I've never seen once he knew someone was missing. He found the little girl next to the locked door. "What's that room?" she asked. "That's my office, sweetie. Come on, let's get you some cake," my dad said as he took her hand and guided her back down the stairs. I guess at that moment I realized it was weird, but still I said nothing. My parents always had packages coming in. Dad always said they were medical equipment that he kept in his office. Sometimes I saw bits and pieces of what was in them, but it was always smaller parts of something that looked as if it had to be assembled. Occasionally he'd get surgical instruments. I just never knew the terrifying things he was doing with them. "Honey, they are for my collection," he'd say. And just as there were packages coming in, there were packages going out. The packages would always be by the front door, and my dad or mom, depending on who left first, would take them on their way out. Still, I asked no questions. One day when I was about 14, my mom was out on a job site designing some house for a millionaire, and my dad, who was a surgeon, had gotten called into a work emergency. It was a Friday, and I had stayed home from school because our cat had surgery, and I was an emotional teenager and couldn't bear being away. My parents reluctantly let me stay home. Dad was watching me, but he eventually got called in. Now I was home alone. Our cat Marlo was on some substances from her surgery, and she was going all over the place. I was sitting on the couch when I realized Marlo was gone. I hopped up and started to frantically look for her. I looked everywhere, except the white hallway. Marlo slept in the white hallway a lot. Maybe it was the lighting, maybe it was the way the cool marble felt on her skin. I ran upstairs to the white hallway, and to my surprise, the door was ajar. Then it hit me. This was the first time in my life I had ever seen the door open. Marlo had to have gotten in. I checked the whole house, and the door was cracked just enough for a skinny cat to slide through. I hesitated. If I got caught, I'd just say I had to save her. She doesn't know where she's at. I walked towards the metal door. As soon as I touched the door, the temperature dropped dramatically. The metal door was like ice. I pushed through. It blew cold air directly above me. I shivered. Then the extravagant spiral staircase caught my attention. My mom had such an eye for beauty. I knew this was her design. The only place to go was down the spiral staircase. The black marble staircase stood out in a totally white and bright room. I slowly made my descent. At the end of the stairs was another door. That was when I heard, "Meow." I whipped around. Marlo was behind the staircase. "Marlo, you are going to get us in trouble. We can't be down here." I started to walk for her and then heard a noise from within the room. I froze. I turned my focus back on the room and stared at the door. I said, "Mom?" I waited. Then I heard another bang. I jumped. I guess the bang and my sudden movement scared Marlo, and she went flying up the stairs. Then I heard yet another bang. I reached for the door and it was unlocked. I guess they figured a metal bolted door was enough and it wasn't necessary